The Nightjet is the brand for the sleeper trains of the Austrian state-owned railway company ÖBB. You find these trains all over Europe. And on the route between Austria and the Netherlands you will also find the new trains now. I already featured these new trains when they just launched on another route, but there have been some improvements. I'll show you all in this video as we take the Nightjet from Amsterdam in the Netherlands to Vienna in Austria. And for this we'll be covering all comfort categories you can find on board of the Nightjet. Before we start with this video, let's take a closer look on the route map. And I have to add up to this, and especially after the moment I published this video, there are a lot of construction works, while the route is basically for the next year not always the same as what I show you here. The train might be diverted via Hengelo, Deventer and via Bad Bentheim. And in the southern half of the route there might also be some changes. Our train today consists of two parts. One part has Innsbruck as the final destination and the other part has Vienna as the final destination. Also in Hamburg the same thing is happening, and the part that has Innsbruck as the final destination that started in Hamburg will be combined with the trains that we had that will go to Innsbruck during the way, and also for the Vienna part the same thing is happening. So basically we have 4 trains, but you only need 2 locomotives for this. Once again, don't take this route one-on-one for the Nightjet between the Netherlands and Austria. There might be some differences when it comes to this. And there's also a Nightjet train from the Netherlands to Innsbruck. The travel time by Nightjet sleeper train is around 14 hours and 15 minutes. What's not super fast. However, you sleep and travel at the same time. If you make the same journey at daytime, you need to count around 12 hours. Depends a little bit on the route and the connection you have. For now, let's take a closer look on the environmental impact if you're traveling along this route by train, car or plane. The train data in this graph is based on the Nightjet. The capacity for the Nightjet is lower than the trains that will travel along daytime. So therefore, if you look at the pollution per passenger, this is more than the same journey compared by daytime train. However, these Nightjet trains really give some good alternatives for flights, because a lot of people just like to have direct connections. And also, even though these Nightjet trains might be a little bit slower, you travel and sleep at the same time, what's really time efficient. In terms of pollution, the Nightjet train along this route has a pollution of around 7.58% compared to making the same journey by plane. However, if we take the Nightjet as a standard, things suddenly sound very different. Then the plane is 1,320% more polluting than taking the train along the same route. And even though, yes, sometimes I do get these comments of people who don't believe in climate change, if you only look at the energy resources that are needed for the train compared to the other modes of transportation, the train is also the absolutely winner, and those energy resources are not unlimited either. Anyway, this here is the train coming in, being pulled in by a Dutch locomotive that will go to Nuremberg. The front of the train has Innsbruck as the final destination, and the second part of the train has Vienna as the final destination. At the side you will find LED screens, and these LED screens will host some route information like the train number, the carriage number and the final destination. Also what classes or where or basically comfort categories has been mentioned at the side. For example the seat car, Couchettes and the sleeping carriages. This is my second journey on board of these new Nightjet trains, and for this I'm traveling on board of the mini cabins, and these are mentioned at the side of the train as the Couchette. In a way they're quite similar, but also totally different. I'll show you all in this video. Composition screens are located at the platform in the Netherlands as well, where I normally also do station reviews for my trip reports. I won't do that in this situation. I mean, Amsterdam is being refurbished big time, and the railway station of Vienna, I just have a video where I covered this as well. Anyway, first things first, and let's go to my mini cabin. Actually, it was rather busy from the moment on I boarded this train, so yeah, I had to be creative and sneaked in some other Nightjet trains later on when I was in Vienna. Anyway, this is my little home for the next approximately 14 hours. These new Nightjet trains do have a total capacity for 254 passengers. And for this, I'll start off by showing you the lowest comfort category you can find on board of this train. I'll combine some shots I shot earlier on in December 2023, when I made a trip report on exactly the same trains but on another route. Anyway, this here is the seating area. The total capacity for these new Nightjet trains is 254 passengers, what's not that much compared to regular trains. However, of those 254 passengers that can travel on board of these trains, 96 can travel in this seating area. The seats are okay-ish though, there's a reading light, you can recline them, and at the moment the seats are facing each other, there is a sturdy table between the seats and you can fold it out to make it slightly bigger. Seats can be reclined, although the amount of reclinement is not that impressive to be honest. Seat numbers are located at the side of the seats, and right under the luggage racks you will find the seat numbers as well, including a small display that will indicate from where to where a seat has been reserved. Reservations are obligated if you're traveling aboard of Nightjet trains. And especially in the seating area, there are a lot of screens that will host route information. At the area of the seating area that's closest to the Couchette compartments, you find way more space for luggage than at the other spots. And there's a good reason for this, I'll get back to that later on. One seating carriage doesn't have that much seats, and this is also the seating carriage where you find the accessible area. Well, the accessible area is in a Couchette, and I'll get back to this a little bit later on if I show you the higher comfort category, because this is a higher comfort category. Let it be no surprise that right next to the accessible area you will find the bigger accessible toilet on board of these trains, and this toilet is rather big. Of course, you have the necessary support bars as well for people who need this, and if you're traveling with a little baby or toddler you can also change the diapers easily at this spot. Although honestly, at the moment of recording and editing I'm not a father yet, but most likely at the moment of publication I'm a father, I don't know how much I would like it to travel on board of a sleeper train with a very young kid. I think I prefer to travel at daytime. Within the accessible toilet there's also a 110-volt power adapter, so if my Taiwanese family-in-law is coming to visit us, they can use a razor here as well. An area for the staff is located near the accessible area, and this here is the spot where you can park bikes if you're traveling with a bike on board of these trains. Also, for a bike a reservation is obligated. You also find some spots where you can put skis. I mean, this is a train going to Austria after all. So for those going to the Alps to ski, well, you can take your skis as well. Next to the bike area there are some folding seats as well, maybe for emergency situations, but I definitely wouldn't want to travel on board of those seats. And apart from that, you even can't reserve them. Then you find this big seating open carriage. I mean, the seats are actually quite comfortable to be honest. I especially like the airline style seats if I would travel overnight aboard of here. There's a fold-out table, there's actually two, and one includes wireless charging. There's a USB socket as well integrated within these tables, and you find a small coat hanger. All windows do have a sunscreen, but it's not blocking out the light. And you'll find these LED screens right above the seats that will indicate from where to where seats has been reserved. Within the biggest open seating carriage, at the moment I shot this video in December 2023, there was quite a lot of space, and it wasn't too busy, so that was okay though. However, at the moment when I recorded this video now in 2025, all the times when I was in this seating area, it was crowded and also not very quiet. So I really wouldn't like to travel along this way if I have to travel overnight, although it's definitely the most budget-friendly alternative. And even last minute, seats are probably still available. I mean, last minute, I just looked it up for the moment I'm editing this video, I still saw seats in the seating carriage from Amsterdam to Vienna for as little as €80. If you book this much more in advance, you can travel along this train from the Netherlands to Vienna for as little as €35. Ticket prices are based on demand though. And this here, this is within the seating carriage, but this is the accessible couchette. And this place is huge. You find 4 beds and basically at the moment it's not booked. The staff is using it, at least what I noticed on the journeys I had. Now let's move on to the comfort category, where I was also traveling on board of this train. And these are the mini cabins. At the moment you arrive in the train, you find a small key card. You can use this to open the cabins and also to open the baggage areas. There's 1 locker for shoes and 1 for luggage. And to be honest, this amount for luggage is quite disappointing. However, if you book the lower mini cabins, you have way more space for luggage. Because you don't only have this locker, but also right under your bed, you have more space. As you can see over here, there's a hidden area. Also something for the lower cabins, the windows are slightly bigger. So I really prefer the lower cabins. But when I made this journey, I was having some lightweight luggage with me because I had a crazy weekend where I recorded a lot of videos, so to be honest, I didn't need that for now, so I booked the upper cabin for myself. Apart from the fact that the window in the lower cabin is slightly bigger and you have more space for luggage, these cabins are basically the same. You will find a very small pillow at the moment you enter the cabin, kind of sleeping bag and an extra blanket you can put over you. Apart from that, you find a cookie, a small bottle of water and a bag for your litter. Now let me give you a tour of the mini cabin I had for this. Once again, here is the luggage area, the shoe area, and I'm sleeping right above here. It looks tighter than it really is. It's not that tight, to be honest. At the foot end, you find a holder for the key card, and this way you can lock your mini cabin, so it's hard to get in from outside. If you open the door, please make sure you have your key card with you, and also make sure you will lock the door from moving. There is a kind of hook attached to the door, so yeah, that shouldn't be too difficult. Now let me give you a cabin tour. I do this with a voiceover because honestly, these areas are relatively noisy. There is a small coat hanger as well, and you find this table. You can move the table around, so you can pull it towards you or pull away from you, and there's a small mirror as well. Also a cup holder is integrated within these tables, what's really nice. There is a kind of a mood light over here, so you can change the color of the lights as you can see over here. However, at the moment you do this, there is an annoying kind of beep. Also, the brightness of the lights can be adjusted. Near the head end, there is a power socket and another button for the reading light. But to be honest, the reading light is rather bright. A magazine rack is also located right next to your head. And there is a magazine of the ÖBB, some safety information and another bag for litter. Well, this is a sleeper train, and of course you want to block out the light at night so you have a better night with good rest. And you can do that using these curtains. You can put them halfway or totally down. Apart from that, you will also find a sunscreen, what obviously lets the light go through, but will block out some heavy sunlight. To be honest, I don't really understand the need for this on board of a sleeper train, but it's there. Also integrated within these mini cabins, you find a spot where you can wirelessly charge your mobile devices. Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of wirelessly charging my mobile devices, simply because it's less good for the battery and it takes, compared to charging in a normal way more electricity. The red thing here on the right, that's the door. So basically, if I open this and the person next to me is doing the same, we can talk. So if you're traveling with someone together, it's really nice to travel this way. However, I think most people on board of the mini cabins like to travel alone. This here is, by the way, the reading light. That's rather bright once again. And there is a constant airflow within the mini cabins as well. There's air conditioning as well on board of these trains. However, you can't control the temperature, what is a kind of a pity. I also heard several stories of people where even in hot summer days, the air conditioning was a little bit too chill. So take this in account. The small blinds are leaking a little bit of sunlight at the side, so take that in account. Also, especially the neighbor next to you can hear relatively good because this door doesn't block that much sound. However, you have definitely way more privacy than in the regular Couchette compartments. And also when it comes to sound, you might hear your neighbors a little bit, but it's also less than in the regular Couchette compartments in terms of how much you will hear your neighbor. I hope you like this video so far. If you do so, or if it's a helpful video to you, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, feedback, or even if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. And if you like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling, then hit the subscribe button if you haven't done this already. For now, let's continue with this video. And when it comes to comfort category, we stay within the same area. However, these are the Couchette compartments for 4 people. They're a bit more like the classical European sleeper trains, but these compartments are really modern. They're basically the same as the Couchette compartments you find on the refurbished Nightjet trains, but unfortunately they stopped that program for whatever reason. I think it would be great if this is all the same over all Nightjet sleeper trains. I think that would also make it easier for people to understand the products, but unfortunately that's not the case. However, I like these Couchettes. They're really modern and you have more space than in the mini cabins, even though you need to share some areas of the space with other passengers. In terms of amenities, so the bottle, the cookie, the pillows and the blanket, this is exactly the same as the mini cabins I showed you earlier on. These are the shared sleeping compartments. They're in the same carriage as the pods as I have right now. I haven't been on the refurbished sleeping cars of the Nightjet yet, but I think they're quite similar. Now let me give you a quick tour. Just like the other cabinets I showed you, you find the light panel over here. Also different mood lights. I like it, I really like it. Let me turn it on again. For filming that's better. Maybe more light. No, that doesn't work. It's okay. It's less comfortable than the sleeping compartments, of course. These are Couchettes. It's a bit harder, but it's really not bad at all. You find a ladder over here you can use for the upper beds. I think you can attach it over here. You find power sockets. Also, you can wirelessly charge your mobile devices. A magazine rack, blankets and pillows over here, but it's still very good. It's nice. And you can also close this here at night in a way that you won't fall out that easily. Some more power sockets, USB sockets, reading lights over here. It's really nice. There's a mirror over here, and just like the previous compartment I showed you, find a hallway. You can look at the window. You can lock the compartments like this. I don't know exactly how actually. Doesn't fully work. Let me try it again. Maybe I did something wrong. Oh yeah, here I did something wrong. I think you'll get a key card for this. Or this might be with an NFC chip. I don't know exactly. But it's really nice. You can find the seat numbers over here. What I see now here, you can adjust the air conditioning a little bit. What's really nice because you have personal preferences. Not bad at all. And due to the design, it feels a bit like you have more privacy than normal. For luggage, you find most space under the beds. Actually, there's tons of space over here. Small litter bin over here. Get some water. Not bad at all. The nightstand for the lower beds can be adjusted in height as well, and can partially become an extension of the beds and otherwise be used for other stuff. At the hallway near the mini cabins and the Couchettes, there are some folding seats as well. They're not super comfortable, but might be handy. A small simple breakfast is included if you're traveling on board of the Couchette and the mini cabin compartments. Don't expect too much from this, but it's nice that it's there. At the moment you move through the train, it has been clearly marked in what area you are. For example, the seating area, the Couchette and mini cabins area, or the sleeping car. The sleeping car, you'll find two comfort categories, and this is basically also the highest comfort category. For people traveling in the mini cabins and in the couchettes, you will find in every carriage where you have these mini cabins and couchettes 2 toilets and 1 basic room with a sink where you can brush your teeth or freshen yourself a little bit up in the morning. The toilets are gender specific, by the way, and within the mini cabins and also within the couchettes, a small display will indicate if the toilets are occupied or not. What I haven't mentioned yet, in the luggage area within the seating carriage, you find some luggage racks where you can kind of lock your luggage. There's an instruction how this works as well. Personally, I really like to have my luggage within sight, and I do have a special luggage lock with me as well if I'm traveling, but this is also a good alternative. At least it's harder to steal an entire bag this way. But once again, I really prefer to have my luggage within eyesight. Now let's move on to a higher comfort category, to the sleeping carriages. Okay, let me do this really quick as well. The sleeping carriages, you find most of these trains or like this. They can fit up to 2 people. What's not a lot, but for most people it's fine. You find the amenities that are better than in the sleeping, or the mini cabins where I stay. There's really nice bedding over here as well, and you find this to prevent from falling out. It would be nice if there would be a window over here as well, actually. So if you wake up in the early morning, you can look a little bit outside, but it's okay. Some racks over here. At the foot end, you find a power socket, USB socket, and something that you can wirelessly charge your mobile phone. What is a bit strange if you ask me, if you lay here with your head, but that's something personal as well. It's a small reading light here. I like this design actually. You can adjust it a little bit. You have the stairs for the upper beds for the luggage. You can use the luggage space right here. And this table, you can also adjust the height. What is perfect, especially for a night. Well, for a nightstand, for example. Or make it a long couch. I don't know what you want to do with it. There's a small litter bin over here, by the way. Let me put the table back. The breakfast, if you stay here, is also a bit better than in the mini cabins where I'm staying, for example. And over here, let me close the door quickly. You find an ensuite toilet as well. What's super fancy, what used to be only for the higher ranked cabins, so the one I will show you earlier, maybe I already showed you, I don't know what order I will edit this. And over here, okay, let me just stand in. This is tiny. For a toilet, it's perfect. But you can shower here as well. When I first reviewed these trains, what was, I think, more than a year ago actually, when they just launched these trains on the route between Hamburg and Austria, so Hamburg, Innsbruck, Hamburg, Vienna, the shower heads were different. They actually didn't fit, but now they're totally fine. You can adjust the water temperature here, but I don't know if I would like to have a shower here because you make everything so wet, it's not big. So someone, the staff came in to put some more goodies in here. Well, not for me obviously, I just leave it like this. Over here, you also get a nice towel, by the way. And here you can put your phone to charge, but mine doesn't fit. Let me try. I don't like wireless charging anyway. It's not so good for your battery and it uses way more electricity, and actually it still doesn't fit. Or I'm too afraid for this part over here that I will take the hammer out. Mine just fits. I've got an iPhone 15 Pro, so it's just Pro Max, by the way, so it's a bigger size. And let me quickly show you the control. I think I already did this for the other cabins, but this way you can adjust the colors of the light and also the amount of light. Let me put it back. This way you can control the temperature a bit. Let me make it brighter again. So I think this is best. And at the door you find a mirror and a small peephole. You can look outside in the hallway if someone knocks your door. You can lock the cabin as well from inside out. That's over here. And what I see, there are more power sockets over here. In that sense, this is a super modern train. It's super convenient. I like this. I'm just really curious to try out these showers actually. And that's, maybe I'll try tomorrow morning to sneak in if people left earlier if I can try these showers out, because I really don't know what to expect if I'm in these small showers. This here is in the opposite layout, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect in these small showers. Hopefully I can try it out. Oh, I haven't mentioned yet, by the way, here you find the keycard holder as well. So, right over here. Well, what is a downside when it comes to the beds in the sleeping cabins? They're basically the same as all the other beds. So all the beds are kind of the same. However, bedding is definitely better and you have a little bit more pillows, what's also nice. You also get a towel, as you can see over here. For now, let's move to the highest comfort category on board of these trains. And of these highest comfort category, you will only find 2 cabins. Let me see if this one is... Yeah, this one is free for now. Let me also... I found that if you turn off the light and turn on, you have the most brightest light. So let me quickly go here before we go to the other ones. So this is in the first cabin in these carriages and has beds 11 and 12. This here is bigger than what I showed you earlier on. You also find a lot more space for your luggage. The mattresses and the bedding, this is all the same. The breakfast, this is all the same. So in that sense, it's not much difference. You still can't look outside if you're laying up the upper beds, by the way. And over here, but then I think you also have this for the other cabins. You can adjust the air conditioning a little bit. So you can have some wind blowing somewhere. It's also at that side. But what makes this super fancy is that the ensuite shower is really a separated shower. I mean, it's not super big. You're still on a train. You need to be, well, you have limited resources in terms of there's not an unlimited amount of water. But I think it's nice. I showered on several trains and I just think it's a freaking nice experience. It's just something really special about having a shower on a train. And this toilet is also rather big. I mean, look at this. It's really spacious, right? I like it. Then you also find a control panel. You can adjust the volume, the mood light, etc. You can make the lights a little bit less bright or brighter. So that's all the same. There's a map of the train over here as well. You find your keycard. I think it's not here yet. I think the staff will bring it later on. That's pretty often, actually. Then let me move on and use the voice over for some parts of the video as well. Route information will be given on special screens at the end of the carriages near the entrance doors if you're traveling in the Couchettes and the sleeping carriages. You will not find this within your compartments and also not within the hallways. CCTV is available throughout the train in all compartments for safety. The announcements will be made automatically in German and in English, and this will be until a certain time. After a specific time, there will be no automatic announcements anymore, so everybody can have their night rest. Honestly, I really don't know what to expect in terms of night rest if you're traveling within the seating carriage. I think when it comes to that, Flixbus might be a very serious competitor. But price-wise, I found these trains, if you take the seating carriages, really affordable. All the other prices are based on demand. For this journey, I was traveling with the use of Interrail. If you are a non-European, Eurail is basically the same. However, you need to pay for an additional reservation for this. Reservations are obligated. Also, the price for the reservation and basically also extra charge for this is based on demand even if you're traveling with Interrail or Eurail. After Amsterdam, the train makes 2 more stops in the Netherlands, in Amersfoort and in Deventer. If there are construction works, the route might be different within the Netherlands. Then it might be via Utrecht and Arnhem, for example. After that, we move on to the border with Germany. The train makes some more stops along the way, and at the railway station of Nuremberg, the stop is rather long, because over there the train will be combined and splitted with other trains. So the section of our train that is heading to Innsbruck will be combined with the train that came from Hamburg and will go to Innsbruck, and our part that will go to Vienna will be combined with the part of the train that started in Hamburg and will go to Vienna. Honestly, somehow I never noticed anything of this. What's a good thing? When I woke up, we were already in Austria, and the scenery was way better, even though this is definitely not the most scenic part of Austria. Things I haven't mentioned yet. Free Wi-Fi is available. This also links your mobile device to a kind of onboard entertainment system where you find some magazines, some books, etc. And also, some snacks and drinks are available in the train, even though don't expect too much from it, and I really recommend you to always take some food and drinks with you, just in case. Also, take some cash money with you. In general, in these new trains, you should be able to pay by card. However, some older Nightjet trains, they might not have the card payment system yet, and well, sometimes it's not working because of bad coverage or whatever, so just take some cash with you. And they really like small cash. From Germany, we crossed the border into Austria via Passau, and after the railway station of Wels, we will join the higher speed line to Vienna, where this train hits up speeds up to 200 km per hour. Nightjet trains do have a kind of bad reputation when it comes to delays. However, I feel like there are really some positive changes when it comes to this. Yes, they are more sensitive to delays than regular trains because they will be combined and mixed with other trains that have other destinations and come from other destinations. Like the part that started in Hamburg and the part that will go to Innsbruck for this specific train. But recently there have been a lot of improvements. Also, for example, the route for the Nightjet sleeper trains from the Netherlands to Austria has changed for the Dutch and the German section, why there are way less delays recently. However, this is definitely something you should take in account. And if you have a connection after you arrive with the Nightjet at your destination, please make sure you plan some extra time so you won't miss your connection. My personal experience with Nightjet trains when it comes to delays is actually pretty good, and I hope to keep it this way. The train makes 2 stops at Vienna. The first one is at the railway station of Wien-Meidling. And not long after that, we will arrive at Vienna main station or Wien Hauptbahnhof. That's it on board of this Nightjet from Amsterdam to Vienna. Train is bang on time. Absolutely great. I hope you liked this video or this has been helpful to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Questions, feedback, comments, let me know in the comment section. And if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is once again long distance and or international traveling, a more sustainable way of transportation, mainly avoid flying, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. And we definitely had a long distance and an international train for this trip because we crossed 2 borders. Before we really end up this video, one very last thing. Related videos can be found in the description of this video, and there you also find a link to Trainline where you can book the Nightjet tickets. Something else you find in the description of this video is a link to a map, and there you can find all videos as well, but then on a map. But obviously you can also subscribe to Trainviking on YouTube. See you on the next one.